operation. There were multiple explosions in Caracas starting at around 2 a.m. local time. You can see the video here coming in.
And since August, the US has significantly increased its military presence near Venezuela, deploying...
On 3rd January 2026 at 2 in the morning, while most of the world was asleep, American Special Forces stormed a compound in Caracas, the capital of Venezuela. They grabbed the sitting president of a Soviet country, put him on a plane, and flew him to New York. That president, Nicolas Maduro, now sits in a Manhattan courtroom, charged with drug trafficking and narco-terrorism. And who's the man behind all of this? Donald Trump, who then went on television and he said, and I quote, "We will
to run the
Venezuela."
country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time.
Now, the official story is this was a drug bust, a law enforcement operation. But here's a question I want to ask you today. Do superpowers risk war, deploy the Navy, and send Delta forces for a drug bust? Or is there something much, much bigger going on? Let's start with the basics. What even is Venezuela? Venezuela is a country in northern South America with population of about 28 million people. And for most of the 20th century, it was one of the richest countries in Latin America. Why? Because sitting underneath Venezuelan soil is the largest proven oil reserve on the planet. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Iraq, more than Iran, we are talking 300 billion barrels of oil. Yes, at its peak in 1990s, Venezuela was pumping 3.5 million barrels of oil per day. It was a major supplier to the United States. American companies like ExxonMobil, ConocoPhillips, they had massive operations there. Then in 1999, Hugo Chavez came to power. He had simple message: Venezuela's oil belonged to Venezuelans. He nationalized the oil industry, kicked out the Americans, and used oil money to fund social programs, schools, hospitals. Chavez also deepened Venezuela's dependency on oil exports, with fuel as the percentage of total exports rising from 71% in 1998 to 98% in 2013. The collapse of global oil prices in 2014 led to a rapid economic decline. Nicolas Maduro took over in 2013, and under his control everything started to fall apart. Due to absence of foreign operators, the production of oil production collapsed. It collapsed from 3.5 million barrels per day to barely 800,000 barrels per day. When that one economic pillar broke, the nation broke with it, resulting in nationwide economic crisis. Hyperinflation hit 10 million% in 2019, leading to two currency system. Corruption exploded. Over 7 million Venezuelans fled the country, one of the largest refugee crises in the world. And the US? They had been waiting for this moment for over 20 years. This did not happen overnight. This was a plan years in the making. In September 2025, 4 months before the operation, the Southern Command quietly began deploying 10% of the entire US Navy fleet to the Caribbean Sea. The official reason? Stop drug trafficking. At the same time, the CIA sent a team to Venezuela. They tracked Maduro's movement using a source close to the president himself. Delta Force built a full-scale replica of Maduro's compound and practiced the raid. In November 2025, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina flew to Miami. She met with Trump and she made him a promise. If you help us remove Maduro, we will open Venezuela's oil and gas reserves to American companies. In December 2025, the US started seizing Venezuelan oil tankers. On January 3rd, 2026, at 2 in the morning, Operation Absolute Resolve began. Bombs dropped on Venezuela air defenses. Delta forces hit Maduro's compound. Within hours, Maduro and his wife were on a US military plane flying to New York. Trump went on TV and said, and I quote here, "We have the greatest oil companies in the world. They will be strongly involved." He wasn't talking about drug trafficking, he was talking about oil. Now, let's get directly into why America really went to Venezuela. There are three reasons stacked on top of each other. Reason 1, oil. Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, but it's producing a fraction of its potential. Why? Well, decades of mismanagement and underinvestments has led to this. Analysts as JP Morgan says that with basic repairs, Venezuela could be producing 1.3 to 1.4 million barrels per day within just 2 years. Full restoration, right? That would require over $100 billion in investment, and that money will come from American companies. Trump did not want Venezuela's oil. He believed Venezuela stole it because Chavez nationalized assets owned by US companies back in 1990s. Reason 2, critical minerals. Here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part most people are missing. Venezuela's south is sitting on a massive deposits of gold, lithium, cobalt, coltan, and rare earth elements. These are not luxury items. These are the raw materials inside every smartphone, every electric vehicle, every missile guidance system, and every AI data center. Reason number 3, blocking China. This is the strategic layer underneath everything else. China had deep financial ties with Venezuela. Chinese companies were embedded in Venezuelan oil fields and mining operations. Iran had reportedly set up a drone manufacturing facilities on Venezuelan soil. Russia had military advisors stationed there. Venezuela wasn't just a failing state. From America's perspective, it had been an enemy military base 90 minutes by plane from Miami. Here's where it gets more fascinating and more alarming. Venezuela and Cuba have had a very special relationship for 25 years. When Chavez came to power, he made a deal with Cuba's Fidel Castro, saying, "We will send you cheap oil, you send us doctors and military advisors." For over 2 decades, Venezuela shipped tens of thousands of barrels of oil every single day to Cuba. In return, Cuba sent around 20,000 doctors, security personnel, and intelligence officers to Venezuela. They kept each other alive. So when America took down Venezuela, Cuba's lifeline was immediately at risk. Right now, Cuba has experienced 3 complete nationwide blackouts in March 2026 alone. 11 million people plunged into a total darkness. The Vice Minister of Energy confirmed that Cuba has gone 3 months without receiving a single shipment of diesel, fuel oil, gasoline, or aviation fuel. Nearly a million Cubans depend on tanker trucks just for drinking water. Women have given birth in complete dark hospital rooms. Food is spoiling because refrigerators don't work. Cuba is running on approximately 40% of the fuel it actually needs, and that number is failing every day. Now, you might think, if all of this is happening in South America, what does it have to do with me? Actually, quite a lot. So, let's get into it. If you are in India, India was one of Venezuela's biggest oil customers before sanctions. India's deal ONGC's investments there. All of this is now just a flux. If American companies take over Venezuelan oil, it will be priced in dollars, trading on American terms. India's energy diversification strategy just got more complicated. For global oil markets, Venezuela's long term oil recovery will add millions of barrels to global supply. That means oil prices could stay structurally lower for a longer time, which sounds good, right? Until you realize lower oil prices also hurt every oil producing country, India, for a new world order. What happened in Venezuela sends a very clear message to every nation watching. If you nationalize American assets, host Chinese or Russian military, and sit on resources America wants you are not safe. The rules based international order that the world was built on after World War II, it is just being rewritten in real time. So, to bring it all together, America did not go to Venezuela because of trucks. America went to Venezuela because of oil, mineral, and fear of China in its backyard. Cuba is the second domino strangled by an oil blockade until it comes to the table. And across Latin America, New America assertiveness is reshaping a region. The question is this a one time move, or are we watching the beginning of a much larger realignment? I leave that for you to think about. If you found this useful, share this with someone who you think needs to understand this. Until then, stay curious, stay geared. I'll see you in the next one.